welcome back. You're still watching Countdown with us. 26 minutes to go for markets to close, and we're seeing more sell-off coming about. Nifty is right now almost at the day's low, 11,607. Remember, at the start of the show, we did mention watch out for 11,600 on the downside. In fact, that's where Sumeet said that could be the support for the day. The banking stocks are the one which are actually dragging the index lower alongside the other heavyweight Reliance Industries. Bank Nifty also at day's low right now, down 500 points in trade, around the mark of 29,700. Let me just quickly pull up the contributors list. Actually, that will just give you a proper picture as to what exactly is dragging the Nifty lower. Reliance, of course, right from the word go in the morning. HDFC is down, ICICI Bank. So it's clearly dominated by the financials, and some bit of support coming in from the IT pack today. Infi, TCS, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, all of them trading with some bit of gains, but not much of support from that pack. Pull up the turnover and let's just check how the participation is panning out. This is the expiry week, by the way, so you can expect turnover to go up at least tomorrow or day after as well. NSE F&O turnover right now at 6.2 lakh. Overall, just about 6.5 lakh crore. But let me quickly get in touch with Sumeet once again and take his view as Nifty is on the verge of breaching the 11,600 mark. Sumeet, what would you do if you had shorts already? Would you be booking profits right now, or would you stay put? What's the target on the downside?
Will still hold the sell positions. As you when the show started, we gave a sell view for the targets of 11,600, 11,550 and 580 levels. We feel that from here on there is some more possibility that we might see a downside levels of around 11,580 or even till 11,550. So I think it's better to be on sell side for next 2 days. One can hold on the existing sell positions with the trailing stop losses to be placed at around 11,640 on higher side, and downside targets can be 11,580, 11,550 in next 1 or 2 days time horizon.
Okay, that's a protocol coming in there, but time now to look at the Fab 4 stocks of the day and which are those 4 stocks that have made it to Yash Upadia's list. Yash, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Devina. It's an extremely weak day for the markets. The market bet too is extremely poor. So the Fab 4 stocks don't really have the kind of gains that we are used to seeing them. But nevertheless, we start first with GVK Power. That one had surged close to 10% in today's day of trade after the company announced that they would be selling 49% stake in their airport business to Abu Dhabi Investment Authority as well as a National Infrastructure and Investment Fund, which would help the company to reduce its existing debt, which is close to about 6,000 crore rupees. Watch out for Alembic Pharma, which is up about 3.5%, and this is on the back of the double upgrade that it has seen from IIFL, wherein they have raised their rating on the stock to a buy and have also hiked the target price to 675 rupees, which indicates a potential upside of close to 22% from its current market price. Indiabulls Real Estate is up about 1.5%. It comes out with its earnings tomorrow, so watch out for that. And lastly, I want to highlight DCB Bank. It's up close to 2.5% at this point in time. Some fresh longs seen there with a high open interest build-up of close to 12% there. Volumes too coming in significantly higher over its 20-day average. Back to you.
Okay, Yash, thanks so much for putting that into perspective. Since we're talking about a lot of these beleaguered companies which might or might not do well based on news or based on prices, and Sameer tends to do this, he tends to buy companies which have ended distress value. Sameer, what's your thought on GVK Power? Distress value, they've just gotten the suitor for the aviation airport holdings business. Money used to pay debt. Announcement came in post-market hours on Thursday. Stock reacting a little bit today. What now?
So what happens, GVK, GMR?
GMR got it too, yeah.
So they look good in terms of valuation and the news that, they've got a suitor. The debt will be repaid. But what happens when the debt gets repaid?
There's more debt.
There's more debt to work on to that. So there's never-ending cycle which goes on. And their debt reduction happens at the subsidiary level. So if the stake is being sold at a particular airport, right? So that airport might be 10% of the whole debt book. So my reduction is limited to that. So what happens if that reduces, there's something else which overlaps it. And net my impact of the debt just goes up. It doesn't come down. So
GMR's defense, their deal looks slightly better, but yeah, the proof of the pudding might be in the eating.
So I might lose out on a quarterly result and another 10-15% kind of a reversal if that happens. But I don't want to risk anything further on the terms of money, just because they are in single digits or double digits, and I see a debt repayment happening very soon.
There's some issue with Bidvest also. For GVK earlier on, I think September 30th, there was some issue with regards to the court. They'd asked for an extension, GVK Airport.
Yeah, so I really don't track them because they are very heavy capex systems, and the debt doesn't stop. Even if after the development fund which they charge and they increase by 30% or 120%, that doesn't sort out anything. So for me, they and power generation companies are on almost the similar point.
And telecom?
So telecom, I give only a point of benefit to maybe a Vodafone as of now. I have a hold over there and a Reliance. But Bharti, I see a further fight on the fiber, dampening the numbers.
You know, I just want to your stock list consists of Yes Bank, it consists of Tata Motors, it consists of Vodafone Idea,
Jet Airways.
Jet Airways. So it's like
Distress. Buying distress.
Yeah. So that's where I get the momentum to buy more and wait for the overturn. So when that overturn comes, so Yes Bank and Tata Motors, we've trimmed a bit because I see the immediate top to come up.
You know what, if somebody is following your strategy, how do you hedge it?
You hedge it by keeping cash. That's it.
Do you average it out?
Yeah, I do. I see the moment we buy a stock, we feel that we're 40% down and it's still a buy. We don't exit because then we have to read into it, and there's a certain process which we follow and makes us keep us going into it by following that.
I wonder if there's a hedge today for the markets though. 526
Oh,
points.
we
I'm
breached
speaking
the mark.
about the Nifty Bank 525. Look at that fall. And Hemen, Kapadia, Navneet of course asked Sumeet, I want to come bring you in on the Nifty Bank and the two top components of the Nifty 50, which are both financial names. Indiabulls Housing Finance down 8% and Yes Bank down 7%. So three things: Nifty Bank, Indiabulls, Yes Bank.
Indiabulls, I just spoke to Devina. It was a short, but it wasn't a short for me simply because we're a bit late, and without a bounce, the risk reward was not in favor. Yes Bank looks weak. We're going to go to 230, give us bounce back, and then go down to 215. Bank Nifty 29,650 is coming close to the level where I would go long with a 150 point stop loss for a bounce of 300 points in the next 48 hours.
Okay, that's the call coming in on the markets. But let's also tell you which are the stocks which are likely to enter into the F&O ban period for tomorrow's session, or which may come out. So three stocks which could enter the ban. Jet Airways is the one. Remember, we'd highlighted this on Thursday that it will come out, and it did come out, and that's the reason why we're seeing fresh shorting in today's trading session. And because of that fresh shorting, there is so much interest in this counter. I guess it could go back, though open interest was very low, 71. Remember, for a stock to enter into the F&O ban, it has to breach the 95% mark as a percentage of MWPL. That's what the data as of now is indicating. The other two stocks are DLF as well as Adani Power, and the one which may come out of the ban is IDBI Bank. And just a caveat here, the trends do change in the last 15 minutes of trade, and also this is the expiry week, so probably you will see the position shifting or being rolled over to the next expiry. Just one stock, I want to get Hemen's view here. Hemen, something like Motherson Sumi, I think until last week it was showing some bit of momentum after falling one day. It had a good run up. It's fallen another 3 point. It's recovered actually from the lows. Would you initiate any trade here around the levels of 152?
If you have a very shorter term point of view, Navneet, maybe for a couple of trading sessions, I think we are at 152 with a stop loss of 147.5. I would go long because it's oversold. There's a recovery in the making, but this is a very sharp trade, Navneet. Like I said, it would be valid, would probably be valid for just a couple of trading sessions.
Okay, so that's a view on Motherson Sumi as well. In a bit, we'll also get in a view on what dealing rooms are recommending in the session like this today, wherein the markets are under some serious pressure. But that's just coming up. There's something which is, of course, doing well, and which is IT. And beyond IT, at least on the Nifty 50, there isn't too much worth writing home about. At the broader end of the spectrum, you probably have a GVK and a Sterlite Tech ahead of the numbers, which is up about 3%.
Yeah, taking a breather from the kind of
Battering that it has had, yes.
bruised and battered and coming back into the fore now. Reliance Industries, obviously the bigger drag on the index, down about 3% in the session. 44 points, 1341. Results, Sameer, dip in profits in 17 quarters. While we know the story about the results, it's the debt also that's now the bigger overhang. A lot of brokerage downgrades have come in. Do you see pressure building around for Reliance Industries for a slightly more prolonged period?
I don't see that, because I think in FY20 it'll be more of unwinding of the debt levels, which have gone up to almost like 2,30,000 now. So if you see that also, now they are more cash generating as well. So the cash levels have gone up from 60,000 to 80,000 crores. So there will be unwinding which is required in the system in FY20, and that will be the story which supports the valuations of Reliance Industries as a whole as of now. So I think there will be a certain dip out here, another 5% or 6%, but I think it won't go down really drastically.
Okay, let's take a sense of what dealing rooms are recommending in the session today as well. Gentlemen, stay on, all of you. We'll take in closing thoughts from you and some closing strategies. But it's 3:15 or nearly 3:15, so at that time of the show, when we get Darshan and Yatin to talk about what their dealing room sources are telling them. Gentlemen, good afternoon, both of you. Yatin, let's start off with you today.
Well, Neeraj, it's a clear day of profit taking, despite a truncated week. Last time we have seen, low volumes and high volatility in trade today. Today morning also we had the India VIX, which was as high as 24 points. So clearly volatility is back. In terms of recommendations, Bharti Airtel, remember the stock this week goes ex rights, and ahead of that we are looking at some buying which is happening in as far as the secondary markets are concerned. Dealers recommend buy today, sell tomorrow on the basis of F&O trends and the long accumulation ahead of the rights issue dates for the X purpose. Tata Global is another stock in the FMCG space, and today we have seen some defensives doing well in trade. IT, FMCG are the typical sectors which are doing well in trade. Domestic funds are said to be biased in Tata Global, probably because of which the stock is holding high, 0.5%, despite adverse market conditions. Almost 70 lakh plus shares traded as far as Tata Global is concerned. And finally, in the cash segment, Jagran Prakashan is one stock wherein dealers are indicating that HNIs are accumulating in select media stocks, including the likes of Jagran Prakashan. So media stocks probably ahead of the elections and the season which is there is in focus as far as dealing rooms are concerned. But Darshan has a few more stocks to talk about.
Yeah, so Pidilite for one is something that dealers indicated. It's down almost 2% on decent volumes today. Dealers indicate that some of the HNIs are actively exiting the position or taking short positions because they expect a weak set of numbers. Remember, even the third quarter numbers for Pidilite were rather weak this time around. The other counter that dealers are talking about is selling pressure both on HEG and Graphite India. Dealers indicate some of the HNIs are actively selling on these counters, and the selling pressure may continue. The spread between that they're making is currently narrowing, with prices coming down of the end price, and the needle coke prices are going up. So the spread is coming down, and that is impacting. And both these counters are down almost 60% from the all-time high. So there is selling, and safe haven bets are being seen taken today by some of the foreign funds. Infosys and TCS are the two counters in which there is accumulation happening by some of the FIs in the sense of there is heavy selling across the other stocks of the market.
All right, Darshan, thanks very much for that. Sumeet, Bagadia, just coming on the IT pocket and not just the larger names. Obviously, we've been seeing post the numbers of Infosys and TCS. There was a clear dichotomy in terms of, and the divergence in terms of the pricing move. So while Infosys fell about 2.5% the day it reported numbers, TCS moved up another 3 to 4%. So while the valuation gap seems to be expanding a bit between the two, from a trading perspective, would you take a trade on either? Or would you look at the mid-cap space where the trading opportunities would be slightly more pronounced?
See, we have already given a buy call in Infosys. Infosys look good to me. One can initiate long positions in Infosys. Apart from Infosys, TCS, HCL Tech, Wipro, Hexaware, most of the IT stocks are looking good to me. I think it's better to be on a long side in IT stocks. From here on, we are seeing a good up move in which in next couple of weeks or probably next 1 or 2 months, we can see a very good upside move in most of the IT stocks which I have named, like Hexaware, TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech, Wipro. These stocks are looking good to me. If there is a correction of around 1 or 2%, from present levels in these stocks, then that should be used as a buying opportunity. And from here on, we are seeing a good up move. In percentage terms, we are seeing a move of around 5 to 7% in next couple of weeks.
Okay, IT clearly bucking the trend in today's trade, but just to pull up RBL Bank. I mean, I want to come to you on this one. It did have a gap down opening, but it's recovered quite sharply. The lows were somewhere about 663, and currently it's just around the day's high level, around 680. So it's recovered somewhere about 22 rupees. On the charts, would you take any bet here?
Standalone, Navneet, RBL Bank looks better than the rest of the market. The market isn't too conducive for that, but yeah, we're on the verge of giving a upward key reversal on the daily chart today, Navneet, as far as RBL Bank is concerned, and we remain more positive than negative. We closed with all-time high of 690 odd. So yeah, but the thing is, if I were to take a short-term trade, we're at 681. The intraday low is 663. That would need to be the stop loss. Such a deep stop loss is disconcerting, but I think RBL Bank 1 is clearly stronger. The indicators on the weekly and even the monthly still seem positive, Navneet. So I would be more positive. Position, I'm not sure, but it definitely looks better than the rest of the banking stocks we've seen.
Okay. Sameer, the follow-up to that, RBL Bank and the stock which is at 52-week highs today, DCB Bank. Again, the numbers may optically seem off, but I think if you just look at what they've done over the last 5, 6, 7 years, the CAGR growth, the consolidation, all of that seems to be okay. What are your thoughts on these two? HDFC Bank, of course, was a good number, but what about the other two?
So I think RBL Bank is a good performer. Results show that. But the only point is the valuations and the run-ups certain times pull it over. And I think it becomes a crowded trade, which I want to avoid. And maybe a hold right now. It doesn't make a sense of new buying out here. And DCB Bank is showing improvement even after, these kind of results, because of the branch expansion they've done within last 2 to 3 years. I think that will play
a 10% bump up in quarter-on-quarter profits is not bad.
Yeah, so it's a
marginally
good
below
place.
estimates, though, I thought.
But the only point is the amount of expansion you've done. That has to somewhere translate. So either two things are happening. Either the branches where you opened up, the loan growth is not that much as you anticipated, and the expenses are much higher as of now on those branches. So I think give it another 6 to 9 months, and then the profitability by branch wise will kick in, and I think then the quarter-on-quarter performance will really improve. So I think there is a scope over there, but yeah, I would wait for another couple of quarters to see that.
Okay. Let's try and get in closing strategies from our experts, and Sumeet, maybe we'll take in final thoughts from you after that. But first, your top closing strategies from both our technical experts. Sumeet, Bagadia, to you first.
I think on sell side, there is a possibility that we might see some more correction in oil marketing companies like BPCL, HPCL, IOC. So for a trading perspective for next 1 or 2 days, one can initiate sell positions in BPCL at the current market price, that is 341 spot levels. On higher side, it has resistance at around 351 levels. So that should be the stop loss for short positions for the downside target of 325 levels in next 1 or 2 days time horizon.
Hemen, what about you? Your top closing strategy?
I would have a buy on Motherson, a sell on TCS.
A buy on Motherson, sell on TCS. A 1% stop loss, 2% target.
Yes.
Is that the call?
Yeah.
Okay. Buy on Motherson, sell on TCS. So watch out for both those stocks as Hemen's top closing strategies. Sumeet, putting in money anywhere aside of Jet Airways?
There's this company called Gravita India.
India.
Yeah. So I've been putting up money over there. This company, what it does, it collects the garbage, let's say a second-hand battery, dismantles it, and then reproduces the lead, the PET, and the aluminium. So they have factories in Africa, they have factories in India domestically. So earlier, one of the factories was getting commercially viable in Africa, and they were importing whatever the material they were purchasing to India. So this has opened up today. So I think now
what is open up today?
So that commercial facility production
in India,
in Tanzania,
in Africa. Okay.
So that has opened up. So that's around 3,000 metric ton per annum, and that gives around 30 crore kind of a revenue, which is 18 to 20% of growth on the volume as well, and on the revenue for FY20, and it's trading around 15 times FY2021. So I feel there's a big lag over there. And it's one of a metal play, indirect metal play, and it supplies to Amara Raja and Exide on the lead side.
It's a lead recycling plant
Yeah.
that is commenced production.
Okay. Sameer, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time out and being with us today. I appreciate your time.
Yep. Thanks.
Well, guys, I can certainly say raw material will be coming at a dirt cheap price. I think there's a couple of other companies which tend to do this. There is a company called, I don't know the fundamentals, but there's a company called Cerebra Integrated Technologies which takes e-waste and then tries and develop it, and that stock too the last few quarters has probably done okay. I mean, down 5%, so a small stock must be. There's a bunch of companies which are now getting into this waste management through different, or producing something out of the waste that comes in, so raw material supply is never a concern. Gravita India, that's an interesting one. Though I confess ignorance, I do not know too much about this company. I don't know if either of you do.
Okay, let's shift focus from the waste management companies and switch focus back to markets. We're just about a few minutes to go for markets to close, and looks like the closing may just come about that mark of below 11,600. The selling pressure is definitely there, and support where it's come from the IT pack, but Indiabulls Housing Finance continues to see more selling pressure. It's now down nearly between 9 to 10%. BPCL's down almost 6% in trade, and dragging the index lower definitely has been stocks like Reliance, ICICI Bank, HDFC, all these heavyweights. IndusInd is down almost 4% in trade. CG Power is the other one. It'll just pull up that counter. It is in the F&O space as well. Hemen, on the charts, 7% lower, so at about 34, a day's low now. Would you initiate any trade here?
I would wait a day more or two more, Navneet. It's an established weak move, and there could be a recovery after a couple of days. I'm not sure if it's immediately. And like somebody was saying in the studio, I think Jet would be a better BTST than CG Power.
And we should actually bring that stock up, because it looks like the stock has seen a turnaround in today's session. And while we were just talking about that counter, Jet Airways, not CG Power, Jet Airways. If you could have that stock up on your screen, it's back in the green. So, and not a bad day of trade for Jet. On Thursday's session was down a good 30% plus, opened almost 20% lower, and then from there to come and prop itself back up into the green at 164. It's quite a mean
interesting
feat.
that the thought was that because it's come out of the F&O ban, there could be some further short positions that have been taken. I don't know whether trading move or otherwise, but it's very interesting. It is what happened to Jet Airways in the last few minutes. Again, this might not be synchronized trading, and the post-closing might still be in the red. It's a very nice spike that we're seeing in Jet Airways at 163 or 164.
Yep,
That's a sharp, remarkable move.
VWAP would be a different price. I think the closing could come somewhere about that. I think Hemen was mentioning around 150, it tends to bounce back. It did breach, I think the lows were 127 all-time low today.
Yes, that 127, 130 was, I think when Sameer was there, I said there's going to be a bounce which is not going to sustain, and then we'll come back and test the bottom. But it was at that bounce area when we spoke about it, Navneet.
So for your BTST, what will your target be?
I would say 174.
All right, 165 to 174, $10 in a matter of a day, not bad.
Jet Airways is clearly the standout performer. Have gone through a day of pain for sure, particularly the banks. And as these rates show you, we are ending at the lowest point of the day, mind you. At the broader end of the spectrum, not a single bout of recovery, but even the large caps, we are ending at the lowest point, 550 points lower. But that's the ticker for the day. Enough and more people believing that there could be some upsides from these levels. Let's wait and watch. The broader markets, about 1.5% or thereabouts. Okay, more pain actually, 1.8%. They were down about 1% at the start of the show. So some serious pain. The market breadth, which was anyways bad, would have worsened during the course of the day today. The BSE 500 index down about 200 odd points as well. So pain across the board. Let me talk about the large caps, and then Navneet will bring you up to speed with what's happening at the mid cap end of the market. Bharti Airtel, well, interestingly, has overtaken the IT pack and become the top gainer. NTPC is come into the mix as well, but that is also because the other IT stocks have gone off. So Wipro and Tech Mahindra are still up there, but Infosys and TCS a mere 0.5%. HCL Tech nowhere in the list. UPL about 0.25%. Not too much for the gainers, but look at the losers. 9% Indiabulls Housing Finance, 7% Yes Bank, 4.5% IndusInd Bank, and then the oil marketing companies, BPCL, IOC down. Eicher Motors, Reliance Industries, the big boy after the numbers, and down there ICICI Bank about 2.5%. So you can safely see that between Reliance Industries, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank and the others would be the top contributors on the downside in today's session for the Nifty. But if Nifty was bad, broader markets were terrible, especially in the last 1.5 hours. It must be showing in the breadth as well, Navneet, but what's standing out?
That's right, Neeraj. It was selling actually seen across the board today. And let me just first highlight a couple of gainers, and there were very few gainers in today's session. One of them was 5 Paisa. The stock's been moving higher in the last two sessions, at least post its Q4 numbers. We also spoke to the management. They indicated that they could just turn profitable in FY20. DCB Bank is the other one, though the entire banking pack did witness selling pressure. DCB and RBL Bank were two banks which were trading in the positive territory. DCB also saw some fresh long positions, and look at the chart of RBL Bank, almost closing around the day's high mark. On the losers, DLF was the one where a lot of selling was seen. In fact, the entire realty pack was down today, 5.5% lower, closing around the day's low mark. Indigo saw cuts of nearly 4% in today's trading session after touching all-time high levels last week. Remember, the news of crude prices inching higher may not just augur well for these aviation companies. Reliance Capital, now this stock has been under immense selling pressure in the last few trading days. The reason being that one of the debt instruments have been downgraded, 12.5% lower. On Thursday as well, it was down nearly 10%. Jet Airways is the other one. It came out of the F&O ban, but there was an intraday recovery seen. We'll watch out for the closing price, but right now it's just showing a flat closing there. Dewan Housing fell as much as 10% in today's trade after falling 8%, closing at day's low, actually 11.5% lower. PC Jeweler, beaten down counter, high beta counter, down 12% in trade. Adani Power and something like Ashok Leyland were other two stocks where selling pressure was seen in today's trade, Davina.
Well, the broader market space, like Navneet highlighted, the pain was pretty evident, and you saw that even in the larger Nifty 50 as well as the Nifty Bank. That's the close for the Nifty Bank. So a sorry state of affairs by the end of trade today. 29,657, a big steep cut of about 565 points. The Nifty 50 closing with cuts of about 160 points. That's still under 11,600. So that was a key marker that we broke in the session. But let's take a look at how the market breadth shaped up, and then we take a look at the individual contributors on the index, and there was absolutely no change. You started off negative, and that just worsened towards the end of the trading session. So 1:4 in favor of the declines.
Yep, and let's just see how the participation panned out in today's trade. Remember, this is the expiry week. You could also see the volumes picking up going ahead. But particularly, I guess the cash volumes were pretty low. It was also below that mark of 30,000, at least for NSE cash segment, just about close to 27. And the F&O volumes were somewhere about 7.1. You could see it picking up maybe tomorrow.
All right, and let's take a look at the contributors then on the index and what made its moves. And, you could just tell that today was a day where IT stood out. The entire pocket there contributing on the upside, but not as near to matching up to the kind of losses that we've seen in heavyweights like Reliance Industries losing 34 points, HDFC, ICICI Bank. HDFC Bank, despite having a decent quarter, started off positive but ended the day in the red.
I think Reliance took away all the contribution it gave on Thursday when it was up nearly 3% in trade, reacting negatively to its numbers.
Closing thoughts then from both our technical experts, Sumeet Bagadia and Hemen Kapadia, are here with us. Sumeet, I'll come to you first on how should we approach trade as we step into it tomorrow.
Same view for tomorrow. Some more correction can be seen, and on downside we can see levels of around 11,550 in Nifty. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, we can see move till 29,600, 29,500 levels. Any such correction in next 1 or 2 days should be used as buying opportunity for next 15 to 20 days time horizon. Purely for a day trading for tomorrow, some more correction can be seen in Nifty and Bank Nifty.
Okay, Hemen, your thoughts?
I think Bank Nifty has come to my level of 11,650, Devina. So, assuming it opens weak, I'd go along with a stop loss of 150 points. I will wait for 11,550 for the Nifty to come down to. And quite a few stocks are showing some signs of life, but I mean, these are all brief things. We've been in this range for a long time. The VIX continues to remain elevated. After this bounce is when the trouble starts, because we've been in this range, Nifty and Bank Nifty, post this anticipated bounce, if we are to break the lows of today or tomorrow, I think that's when I would be really worried. But as of now, it's still sanguine. It's okay.
Okay, let's wait and watch what happens tomorrow and over the near term. Sumeet, Bagadia, Kapadia, thank you. Hemen, thank you so much for joining in today and giving us your thoughts. Really appreciate your time. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Countdown from Navneet, Devina and me, Neeraj. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned though. The market wrap comes up next on the other side.